this thing is not on. Is this on? There we go. Thank you. Good evening. It's 7 o'clock in Gardner, Kansas. I will call the meeting to order. Please rise and join for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening. I'm feeling like kind of tilted over this. There's no one sitting on that side.
I know, it's like a wedding.
Yeah. Welcome, Commissioner. Thank you for coming this evening. Okay, we have two proclamations, and the first is for Support Your Local Chamber of Commerce. So I will come up here.
Yeah, can you? Sure.
Hi, hello. Mark, Mary?
You.
You're gonna be up here for a couple of these.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, that's great. All right, so whereas Chambers of Commerce strive to address the community's top challenges and greatest opportunities through bold leadership and innovative problem solving, and whereas Chambers of Commerce foster stronger, more vibrant communities by advocating for priorities to promote economic prosperity, boost quality of life, and create access to meaningful employment and opportunity for all residents. And whereas Chambers of Commerce are champions of communities, serving as a trusted resource for businesses, residents, and other stakeholders. And whereas Chambers of Commerce create catalytic community partnerships to build resilient economies and promote community-wide prosperity. And whereas the Gardner Chamber of Commerce was incorporated in 1975 and supports and represents local businesses through advocacy, events, and marketing, and promotes local tourism through various regional organizations. Now therefore be resolved that I, Todd Winters, Mayor of the City of Gardner, Kansas, do hereby proclaim October 16th, 2024 as Support Your Local Chamber of Commerce Day in the City of Gardner, and encourage residents and businesses to learn more about the Chamber, its impact, and support of local businesses. So thank you very much. I know the Chamber has been very strong here. Were you president one year?
I've been there.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it does a great job in our community and always been supportive of it. So
Yes, you have.
we'll get a good picture here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more.
Hey, Tom, just one.
One more.
Oh.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Come on up, Cleverson. We got one more
One
here.
more Cleverson.
Oh.
He didn't know he was doing this. This is very
We got four Rotarians up here.
Yes, we do.
And, Steve,
You want somebody else to do that?
Well, you're a Rotarian, yeah. Any other Rotarians? Okay. And this is for World Polio Day, and we have members of the Rotary Club here in attendance. That is a big project in our organization. So, whereas Rotary International, founded on February 23rd, 1905 in Chicago, Illinois, USA, is the world's first and one of the largest nonprofit service organizations. And whereas Rotary is a global network consisting of over 1.4 million members in more than 46,000 clubs in 221 countries and geographical areas, who unite to take action to create lasting change in communities across the globe. And whereas the Rotary motto, service above self, inspires members to provide humanitarian service, follow high ethical standards, and promote goodwill and peace in the world. And whereas Rotary in 1985 launched Polio Plus, and in 1988 helped establish the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which today includes the World Health Organization, U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, UNICEF, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance to immunize the children of the world against polio. And whereas polio cases have dropped by 99.9% since 1988, and the world stands on the threshold of eradicating the disease. And whereas to date, Rotary has contributed more than $2.6 billion in countless volunteer efforts to protecting nearly 3 billion children in 122 countries. And whereas Rotary is working to raise an additional $50 million per year, which would be leveraged for maximum impact by an additional $100 million annually from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And whereas these efforts are providing much needed operational support, medical staff, laboratory equipment, and educational materials for health workers and parents. And whereas in addition, Rotary has played a major role in decisions by donor governments to contribute more than $10 billion to the effort. And whereas there are 48 members of the Rotary Club of Gardner who sponsor service projects to address such critical issues as poverty, disease, hunger, illiteracy, and the environment in our local community and abroad. And whereas Gardner Rotarians have committed their time, talent, and treasure to continue support of Polio Plus until polio is finally eradicated from the earth, contributing $3,800 over the last 3 years. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Todd Winters, the Mayor of Gardner, Kansas, do proclaim October 24th, 2024 as World Polio Day in the city of Gardner and encourage all citizens to participate in this observance. So, thank you.
One more here. Okay.
All right.
Got it, thanks. All right.
All right, excellent, thank you. Next, we have a presentation from Fire District 1, 2025 budget overview. I know we have several in attendance, thank you. And again, Commissioner Allenbrand, thank you for being here.
Is it time to come up?
You bet, absolutely.
I feel like I have to stand on my tiptoes. Well, anyway, thank you for letting me be here, and my apologies for, I wish that we would have had enough information to come to you earlier so that you knew that we had to take an increase. So I kind of wanted to explain that, and then I'm going to introduce some other members. You should have gotten the budget by email today, so I think you all have that. So let me just point out a couple of things. The fire district was rated one of the 7th lowest paid firefighters. They had to pay for their own wellness checks. They had to pay for their own in-services. They now have a step plan. Also, we have a reserve plan along with a capital improvement plan. Those things were not in place before. We also have a fleet inventory with a inventory of when they're due, so it's not catching us off guard. We just went under contract with the fire board to provide services. So we technically weren't supposed to start until the first of the year, but because they were in such need, we went ahead and helped getting this in place. Also, you know, we've had, it's been ongoing with the fire board trying to meet that budget and getting things under control with their budget. And so we have appointments that are on that board. I've reached out to the mayor, also to the city manager for some of the appointments that we have. We have a mayor, a financial advisor from UMB that's retired now, a paralegal, a business owner here in Gardner, more than one business, and then also an Overland Park firefighter, among others. So we have a really good board. At this time, I'd like to invite up our commission chair, Dave Dorada. I was trying to remember, you council or commission? I'm sorry.
We're a commission.
It's almost 7.
Board, actually. So,
There you go.
thank you, Commissioner.
I leave my, oh, very good, okay.
Well, welcome, Dave, former mayor.
Hello.
Dave Doretta.
All right, Mayor Winters, members of the council, thank you for having us this evening. I'm going to begin with a mea culpa. I apologize that I did not directly communicate plans for the 2025 budget to you. Rather than just relying on the required notifications, which has been past practice. This budget will cause a modest mill increase, and such a change would warrant a more direct notification, and I commit to do that as we move forward. Excuse me. A little bit about how we arrived to this budget and our decision. So not long after I started with the board, I began holding meetings at all of our stations and with every shift, and that involved all of our firefighters and then all of our department leadership. And much of what I learned in those meetings drove our budget that we put forth for 2025. Commissioner Allenbrand has mentioned prior to this,
year, we did not have a capital improvement plan, which we do now, and we've started that process. We did not have a strategic plan, which was a concern among our firefighters, and we've begun that process, which will include working with the cities we serve. Unlike other Johnson County Fire Departments, we did not offer wellness checks for firefighters. We're almost 10% more likely to develop certain cancers as compared to non-firefighters sharing similar demographics. This has been added to 2025. Unlike other Johnson County Fire Departments, we did not offer education reimbursement, and this has been added to the budget. We lost one firefighter this summer because of the lack of that benefit. And as stated, our 2025 budget also attempted to address pay equity, although we do remain 7th out of 8 departments with regard to pay. We've begun working with the county shared services to assist us in budgeting and planning and to improve our forecasting. To close, I want to say that we're committed to ensuring that you're aware of our plans and committed to a goal of no surprises as we move forward. So thank you very much. I will ask Chief Trigg Morley to come up and provide a little more detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Trigg Morley, Fire Chief for Fire District Number 1. We appreciate the opportunity to come and present to you guys this evening, and of course the support of Commissioner Alan Brand and then our Fire Board as well. Also besides Mr. Dervetta, Mr. Mark Brodalski, longtime board member, I believe 28 years serving with the Fire Board at Fire District Number 1 is here tonight as well. Also have Brad Ralston. He is our Fire Marshal, Division Chief of Prevention. So he's the guy that is in charge of providing code services, fire inspections, fire investigations, and prevention activities. And then also Ashley Smith is with us tonight. She's our Administrative Services Manager. She's the expert on all things pay and benefits for our employees. So again, we appreciate the opportunity to come and present with you this evening. The mission at Fire District 1 is exceptional people providing compassionate service and rapid response to the community's diverse needs. And we do that through several different ways. Lots of departments and lots of folks working to carry that mission out. Fire District 1 of Johnson County strives to provide the highest level of fire, rescue, emergency medical, and preventive services to diverse and growing communities, such as Gardner. We do that through mission essential staffing and training, state-of-the-art facilities and equipment and technology, a strong, diverse, sustainable funding base while maintaining stewardship of the taxpayers' resources, effective and comprehensive prevention and public education programs to provide a safe environment for our citizens, and a safe and healthy workforce. Some of our guiding principles include doing the right thing, integrity, trust, respect, and commitment. We also believe that everybody within the organization makes a difference. Individuals and organizational responsibilities, accountability, teamwork, and collaboration. Also anticipating and meeting the community's needs, addressing that through proactive planning, innovation, creativity, responsiveness, and excellent customer service. For the 2025 budget year, Fire District 1 has adopted a 17.156 mill levy. That is an increase of 0.874 over the 2024 mill levy. Now there's some things in play that are going to adjust that, and so we're actually forecasting that the final mill rate will be 16.902, which is a 0.62 higher mill levy than last year. That's going to be because of the some pending approvals through the State Board of Appeals, and then also an additional property that came online that wasn't necessarily included in the June numbers when they were presented. The total budget authority for 2025, which includes capital improvements, transfer to reserves, and our bond, is about $13.9 million. We operate 6 crews, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year out of 5 different stations. We're a full-service fire district providing all hazard response services, including advanced life support. We also have fire prevention services, code services, public education, and public relations. In 2023, Fire District 1 handled 4,903 calls for service. We're on track this year for a 9.5% increase into that call volume. I pulled the numbers from September of 23 till September of 24. And today, and during that time period, we had run 5,239 calls for service. 2,722 of those calls were within the city limits of Gardner. Our average turnout time for calls to Gardner is 53 seconds, which means from the time the alarm drops till the crews are on the road responding to that emergency is 53 seconds, with an average on-scene time. The time that it takes us to respond to that emergency is 5 minutes and 3 seconds within the city of Gardner. The 2025 budget has many priorities. Some of those have been spoken about already, but Fire District 1 continues to be amongst the lowest paid fire department in all of Johnson County. We participate in multiple studies throughout the year. We tap our other neighboring agencies on the shoulder to see what they're doing for pay raises. And the result of being the second lowest paid department in the county has resulted in about a 10.6% reduction or loss of employees within our operations division that are moving on and going to work for other organizations. So in 24 months, we had lost 7 employees. It's time to take a serious look at that, start understanding what it is, what pay, what benefits, what other things are they getting when they go to these other organizations to understand what we needed to put in place. We currently have 20 employees of our 66 operations employees that have been under 5 years at our organization. So it's a young department. That's almost an entire shift of folks that have been on the job less than 5 years. We continue to be 5 to 9% behind our pay goal, and our pay goal is to be the average department in Johnson County. We just want to be in the middle. Each department, as they're giving those raises, we still tend to stay about that 5 to 9% pay range behind with our folks. In 2021, we had 12.5 administrative positions. Today, we've dropped that down to 6.5 administrative positions. So as folks have left through attrition, high-level chief officer positions, we've really taken the opportunity to evaluate that position, and with improved efficiencies and folks willing to take on more responsibility, we've been able to reduce that overhead cost and contribute that money back down towards the supporting the firefighters, the men and women that carry the service to the streets. For the fiscal year of 2025 budget, it does include a 5% pay raise for our firefighter ranks. And for our company officers, which we call a captain or a lieutenant, they are immediate frontline supervisors on the fire truck, on the streets. They are receiving a 9% pay raise. And that, again, our projections is that we still maintain that second lowest paid position in all of Johnson County with those raises. We've also included wellness exams. We believe that taking care of the whole firefighter, both mentally and physically, is important. We've partnered with a company called LifeScan, who provides wellness physicals to almost all of the other organizations within Johnson County and actually the Kansas City metropolitan as a region. And so we're excited to provide those physical wellness screenings each year annually for our employees. We've also included an education incentive, and so encourages folks to pursue those higher educations to help contribute to the longevity of their career at Fire District 1 while achieving their educational goals. Fire District 1 has lacked planning, and that has been a challenge as a young man moving into this position. I've just been in this position a year now, and definitely have the support of the fire board as we move forward on strategic planning. We have many partners that are helping us with that, but the goal is to develop a short-range plan and a long-range plan that's going to be the roadmap for the future of the fire district. We did enter into a relationship with the Fire Service Administrator, and there's kind of a backstory here, but Fire District 1 provides services into Fire District 2, all right? So that's the areas for us to the east of Clare Road. Fire District 2 is their own taxing jurisdiction. Fire District 2 doesn't have any employees. Through a contract, they pay us to provide employees to operate their stations and their equipment that they own. Their previous fire chief, Jim Francis, is now the Fire Services Administrator through the Johnson County Department of Emergency Services. We've partnered with Jim Francis, he's here tonight, Mr. Francis. We've partnered with Jim Francis to help us develop a strategic plan. He is a expert in the fire service, and he's been somebody that I've looked up to almost my entire career as a young man. We have had the opportunity to start some of those conversations with strategic planning in meeting with some of our city partners, just to kind of get that first few steps into that, to understand where the community is growing, where the community is developing, and how that's going to impact the fire district. So our goal is to continue to develop that strategic plan so we can have a documented plan for the future. Some other steps that we've taken is we've entered into a relationship with the Financial Management Administration Department through Johnson County using their shared services model. The shared services model isn't new or unique with Fire District 1. There's about 11 other organizations that they provide those services to, but they are going to help us with all of our financing and payroll and all of the things that are attached to that. So we entered in that agreement in August, and we've started that work to build the system out so we can transition all of our financial services and payroll to the shared services model through the Financial Management Administration Department with Johnson County to go live with that at the beginning of the year, so January 1 of 25. Mr. Joe Connor from the County Manager's Office, Assistant County Manager, is here tonight as well. He's been instrumental in helping us get that process going, and that has been nothing but a great relationship so far. And if building out the system and building what this model is going to look like is any indication of what the services are going to look like, then we're going to be on a solid financial ground using that shared services model before we know it. We've also been working for the last couple of years with the Office of Budget, Financial, and Planning. Mark Dapp is the Deputy Budgeting Director. He's here tonight with us as well. All of the folks up at the Budgeting Office have really helped us understand the budgeting process, and they're able to provide us with some really cool tools that help us project what revenue will look like and what our budget will look like many years down the road. So that's been a really good relationship for the fire district. Again, all with the goal of reducing duplicating services. So us not having to have the staff or hire a third-party accountant to provide accounting services and folks in-house. So it's going to reduce work hours internally for administrative staff, giving them the ability to take on new responsibilities and focus on other things. And at the end of the day, that could potentially help us add to the operations staff and put some of that funding that we would have for operational or administrative folks working on the operational system. Like I said, the Fire Services Administrator, Mr. Francis, we've entered into a relationship with him, MOU, and so really the relationship with Mr. Francis started as we were working on this contract of service for Fire District Number 1 and Fire District Number 2, and in him, I guess kind of in a way, and I say it delicately, but Mr. Francis put together a plan to kind of piece out his department. And they had a lot of challenges, and mostly were with Fire District 2 was a model agency. As a fire district, we could look at Fire District 2, and they were doing business the right way. Very financially sound organization. They had reserves, but the parts of their district were being consumed by annexations, and that was going to become a challenge for them real soon. Instead of waiting for that to happen, Mr. Francis put together a plan and put that plan into action, and that's what resulted in the contract for service with Fire District Number 1 and Fire District Number 2. And then he was able to go be on staff with county as the fire services administrator. But he's working on some very specific things with us. One of us, he's aiding us in our transition over to the financial management administration. As you can understand, that's a heavy lift. Lots of data, lots of personnel time. It's going to impact policies on how we purchase things and how we pay people. So there's a lot of work to do there. Jim has experience from doing that from a fire district perspective and what that transition looks like. So he's aiding us with that. He's also aiding us with our budget. Fire District 2 does contribute a significant amount annually to our budget, our operating budget for Fire District Number 1. So he aids us with budget preparation and presentation. And then more specifically, and the one that I'm most excited about, and I'm sure he is as well, is developing that strategic plan. And so we enjoy Jim in our facility. He comes out, he has an office with us, and he's at our facility multiple days a week. And that's been a really good relationship. As a matter of fact, the original relationship or the original agreement that went in place in 2021 with Fire District Number 1 and Fire District Number 2 was just redone, and that's a new agreement went into place October 1st. Fire District 2 has increased the contribution that they're making financially to Fire District 1, and it's allowing us to add more operational staff to our department. So that's one example of what that new agreement is doing for the Fire District. We continue to evaluate our staffing, and we use terms like staffing relief factor, which is a complex algorithm that helps us determine the number of folks that we should have to provide the service. All the while reducing overtime and things like that. So we're working through and evaluating what our staffing needs are. We continue to send out surveys, and so we take a random selection of calls that occur within our fire district each month. We send those surveys out with a self-addressed stamped envelope for them to return them. We continually see exceptional ratings on our satisfaction surveys from our cities or from our customers that are receiving our service. We still have many challenges. Most of those we've kind of just discussed briefly. We continue to address competitive pay and benefits, understanding why people are leaving our organization to go work for another organization, and seeing how we can do that. It's all about attracting and retaining the quality folks that we need to provide the services to the communities that we serve. We continue to stay behind in our pay goals. We're a young organization, so staffing is a challenge. Many times we look to the National Fire Protection Association and ISO to help us determine what our staffing levels should be. We do our best to maintain, and it is our minimum staffing for 3 people on a piece of fire equipment, which is about the very minimum that you can do to be an operational fire company with 3 folks on a fire truck. Healthcare costs continue to be a challenge. For everybody. When we did our renewals in August, we saw a proposed 38.9% increase to our healthcare cost for our employees' insurance. We were able to move carriers to enjoy a 10.38% increase. We have aging facilities. One of our fire stations was built in 1970. It doesn't hold a modern day piece of fire equipment that's being produced today. We have identified many capital improvement needs on a formal CIP that's visited by the board annually. But that CIP we still need to continue to refine that CIP to address our facility needs and future needs. The rising cost of doing business. For us in the fire service, apparatus costs have increased significantly. So for the engines and ladder trucks that you see in the community that are responding to the calls, the increase in costs for those trucks is up substantially. And also, at this point, we're looking at 4 years from the time you order a fire truck until it's delivered. So that's a challenge as well. And then increased call volume. So as the communities continue to develop, we'll see an increase to call volume, which puts burdens on our staff, our facilities, and our equipment. And so those are the highlights that I wanted to share with you tonight. There are a lot of good things going on at Fire District 1. We're a very busy organization. but we're also a group of proud individuals that enjoy what we do. We take a lot of pride in servicing the cities that we provide services to. So I know I'm available for questions. I also know Mr. Dravetta is happy to answer any questions, so we can try to entertain any questions that you guys might have for us this evening.
Thank you, Drake. Appreciate it. Council, you have questions for Morley or Dave Dravetta? I'm just curious, with some of the warehouses, in Edgerton, I believe should be kind of rolling off the tax rolls here the next few years. How does that forecast in the budgeting?
Yeah. We have our professional with us.
Yeah,
So,
it's always better to turn over the professional.
Mark Zapp with Budget Financial Planning. We have roughly, at the flat mill levy for the district, about $4 million of assessed valuation ad valorem dollars that would be projected to come online in the next 5 years as a result of those abatements returning to the full value.
Is there any, as far as budgeting for it, is it are they capital expenses going to be, or?
So we will,
Looked at that.
yeah, we've got our normal growth rates, just an increase from valuations, and then we also manually add those properties back in so we can see when they're coming back onto the tax roll and then be able to assess what's going to be necessary from a mill levy perspective based off the total value of the tax roll with those properties being included.
Any other questions? No? Okay. All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming to see us tonight, and we make this at least an annual thing. Yep, great day. All right, thank you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. All right, that finishes our public hearings. We'll move to public comments. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to make comments about city matters or items on the agenda that are not part of a public hearing. If you wish to come forward, please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. There is a time clock to your left. Come forward, state your name and address for the record, and the podium is now open. Coming forward. We will move to consent agenda. Is there an item on consent council would like to remove? Is there a motion to approve consent?
So moved.
Motion McNair. Second Deaton. Sorry. That we approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Consent agenda passes. No planning and zoning consent. No committee recommendations. No old business. We'll move to new business. New business item number 1. Consider adopting a resolution approving the execution and delivery of a developer contribution agreement in connection with a rental townhome project within the city, Flint Trails. Matt?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. The developer has agreed to contribute to the cost of improving 167th Street adjacent to the proposed rental townhome development. The project is generally located at the northeast corner of 167th Street and White Drive. The developer shall pay the developer contribution in 2 separate payments. The first payment of approximately $251,000 is to be paid by the developer prior to the date on which the plat is recorded with Johnson County Register of Deeds Office. The second payment of approximately $931,000 is to be paid within 30 days from the date on which the city notifies the developer that the city has accepted the completed internal infrastructure improvements. The developer's first payment shall be credited against the excise tax calculated for the development. Staff recommends adopting the resolution approving the execution and delivery of the developer contribution agreement.
Thank you, Matt. Is there any public comment on new business item number 1? Okay, council, do you have any questions or comments or concerns? Do I hear a motion for new business item number 1?
So moved.
Second. Motion Deaton, second Baldwin. We adopt Resolution 2153, a resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of a developer contribution agreement in connection with a rental townhome project within the city of Flint Trails. City Clerk?
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Councilmember Deaton?
Yes.
Councilmember Wayne?
Yes.
Councilmember McNair?
Yes.
Resolution 2153 passes. New business item number 2, consider adopting an ordinance to authorize a special sales tax election. Matt?
The governing body held a work session on October 7, 2024 to review information prepared by the Public Works Department regarding the current infrastructure special sales tax and existing infrastructure conditions. At the work session, the governing body directed staff to prepare a half-cent special sales tax for the purpose of constructing and maintaining streets, sidewalks, pedestrian bridges, and trails, and schedule the election for February. As directed, staff has prepared an ordinance calling for an election to be held on February 11th, 2025, to renew the half-cent special sales tax to be used for funding the city's infrastructure. If approved by the voters, the tax would take effect on January 1st, 2026, as soon as thereafter as permitted by law. The tax would sunset at the end of 10 years. It is staff's recommendation that you adopt the proposed ordinance.
Thank you, Matt. Is there any public comment for new business item number 2? Council, question?
Just one. What's our current rate? Or is it
It's half cent.
No, well, this is a half cent, but
Yeah.
overall the city, what do we? Is it? Oh,
It depends on what part of the city, because we have CIDs in certain sections which add on another percent.
I think. Yeah. I mean, just generally, is it?
9%.
The city's general sales tax, we have a 1% base sales tax, and we have the half-cent infrastructure sales tax.
Okay, so basically it's 1.5, and
Yeah.
this would keep it at the same. So, if they
Yes.
approve.
Questions? Okay. Is there a motion for new business item number 2?
So moved.
Motion McNair, second Deaton. We adopt ordinance number 2814, calling for an election to be held on February 11th, 2025, for the purpose of voting on a proposition to authorize the city of Gardner, Kansas, to renew the levy of a special purpose citywide retailer sales tax of 0.5%, 0.5%, to be used to fund city infrastructure, including the construction of or repairing, rebuilding, rehabilitating, upgrading, and improvement of streets, curbs, sidewalks, pedestrian bridges, and walking, jogging, and biking trails in the city of Gardner, with such tax to take effect on January 1st, 2026, or as soon as thereafter is permitted by law, and end 10 years after such effective date. City Clerk?
Councilmember Deaton?
Yes.
Councilmember Wayne?
Yes.
Councilmember McNair?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2814 passes. All right, we'll move to council updates. Chief?
Sorry, you caught me off guard.
Oh, sorry, I can go back to you.
No, that's okay. I don't have anything tonight.
Perfect. City Clerk?
I don't have anything.
Finance man?
Nothing tonight.
City Attorney? Gons, utilities?
Nothing tonight.
Jason?
I'm gonna ruin it. Quick reminder, our 28th annual Boo Bash is this Thursday, October 24th at Celebration Park. We'll have the low sensory portion of the event from 5:30 to 6, and the other portion of the event from 6 to 8:30. So as of right now, weather looks pretty good. If for some reason we have to cancel, we have a rescheduled date for a week from tonight. So
Awesome.
hope to see everybody out.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. Community development.
We do have a planning commission meeting next Monday at 7 o'clock in these chambers. The council will receive a link to the packet through the Friday Minute Memo, so.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Public Works.
Nothing tonight.
City Administrator.
So we're notified by KDOT that they're pushing the letting for the Gardner Bridge to May of 2025. They're pinning the delay on the realignment of 191st Street. So they were in private negotiations with the property owner on the southeast corner. And 191st Street kind of followed the off-ramp through there. It's going to be further to the south. And split the property so that it can be developed into a commercial property. It was outside of the original planning area, so they had to go back and redo a couple things. Now they are in the process of right-of-way acquisition. We know they're actively doing that. They've gone to condemnation on a couple properties, so they are moving forward, but the target date now is in May. We are going to push to have them start construction as part of the contract in 25, and that's something that they can put in there, because once they give a notice to proceed to the company that wins the bid, then typically it's 1 to 2 months, but they could push it into the next season. We're gonna push them to hold them to the late summer, fall for a start.
So if they don't start until late summer, fall, that's right as school starts.
Yeah.
Or are they?
Yeah, but that won't. I mean, that probably won't impact. They're not going to actually do. They'll do work before they do. They'll close the bridge down.
Yeah, the intention is to build out the new bridge before a closure.
Yeah.
They're trying to minimize the closure as much as
I
possible.
knew that was the intention, but things can clearly change a lot, so I just want to confirm that.
Yeah, the major part of the delay was they had to do NEPA again. Environmental studies take a long time.
Do we have any actual concern, or should we do any active investigating on the actual safety of the bridge? I mean,
It's a scary bridge is what Todd is trying to
yeah,
say nicely.
like
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be worthwhile to at least.
It's looked at pretty regularly by both KDOT and us. We do a lot of the patchwork on it, but
Since the rebar's exposed, we can look at that pretty easily.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
what
we'll,
we need to be doing,
we'll keep looking at it.
even cosmetically, or even just a thin overlay, or just I mean, if we're still talking possibly a year before this gets going.
Yeah, we'll get with KDOT and see if there's a way to make some at least patchwork improvements until such time as we have a new bridge.
Is there, have they provided any estimate of the time of construction?
I believe it was 18 months the last I heard, Kellen.
That sounds right.
Is that based on daytime construction? 8-hour shift, essentially?
Probably.
Is there any way?
I know they do. They can push it forward and pay more for doing it at night and things like that. That's not.
Well,
that's something we can ask for, but they can even incentivize getting it done sooner. That's just something when we talk to KDOT. I mean, we talk about contractual issues and doing something that's even what we consider in the norm. They act like we're asking for the moon. So I mean, it's something we can ask for.
They would likely
we're in
ask us
discussion.
to pay for it.
Yeah, we're in discussions now with the aesthetic improvements, and the council gave us the go-ahead for 500. It came in at 6. We're discussing with them how to change either the bid package or things that we can make is kind of an alternate selection. The pedestrian lights they're probably 100 to 120,000. That may be something we have to cut to get back under 120. We're going to request that they bid the package as is and see where it comes in at, and we'll come back to council if it's over and see what everybody wants to do.
I guess with a couple, it sounds like they're doing all the talking, we're doing all the listening. They're telling us what to do.
That's not the case. We push back on. I mean, we do as much as we possibly can. I mean, we have no leverage.
Right. That's what I'm asking is is there any way, Jim, that we could get additional leverage out of this?
So one of the things that they have not asked is for, as the prices increased, they're covering the price increases, and our contribution has not changed. So, I mean, that's really a positive. I mean, that's something that we could push back on if they came at us because of the delays. But, we're also negotiating with them on 175th Street. We're talking to them about the Moonlight Bridge. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on that, if we start kicking and screaming, that's going to come back on us. So we have to find the balance of how hard to push and what we think we can get done through, those negotiations.
So if I understand you correctly, they're gonna cover the cost of the delay of, construction expenses because of essentially 6 or 8 months that they're gonna let the bid out.
And this is like the 4th delay. So, I mean, this was like, I think it was supposed to start 2.5 years ago. So, and they've covered all the increase in expense up to this point, which has been pretty significant.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Anything else? Okay. Councilman McNair?
I'm good.
Councilman Weed? Nothing for me. Vice President?
Nothing tonight?
Vice President? I have nothing yet. We do have 2 executive sessions this evening. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
For the first, okay. Motion McNair, second Deaton. We recess into executive session for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship pursuant to KSA 754319B2, beginning at 7:45 and ending at 7:50, returning to regular session 7:55 p.m.
Do we have to vote on this? Aye.
That sound good to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, ayes, 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 ayes.
Guys have.
So moved.
How many do we need for?
Slow down.
How many do I count as opening and closing a meeting as part of quorum? Or council?
So we need Steve out here too?
I think you're saying 15, maybe you need to do like a couple extra minutes more.
I think-
Never have enough
17.
time.
Let's do 17 for transit.
Let's start doing like 17:30. Let's start
Sorry,
doing
guys.
second.
Every year we go up 3%.
Inflation. All right, is there a motion to resume normal session?
So moved.
Yes. So moved.
Motion Deaton, second McNair, we resume regular session. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, abstained, back in regular session. We have a second executive session. Consider into executive session to discuss matters of attorney-client privilege related to a potential development project. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Deaton, second McNair. We recess into executive session for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship pursuant to KSA 754319B2, beginning at 7:57 p.m., returning to regular session at 8:05. Or 8:12?
I think
8:14. 8:14.
7:57 to 8:14.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed, abstained. We're in executive session. we have a motion, what time is it? 8:14. Okay. We have a motion to return to regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion McNair, second Deaton. We return to regular session. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? We're back in regular session. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion McNair, second Deaton. We adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? We're adjourned.
Wouldn't that be funny if I just said no one time?